Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great week, staying safe and being kind. This is Debbie Lyons. I'm the pastor at First United Methodist Church, Winsboro, and I'm so glad you're checking in with us today. Last week, I did our January 26th devotional on the Oxford Dictionary New Words of the Year. An unprecedented year, as a matter of fact, called for an unprecedented number of words chosen. And unlike in years past, where they only picked one word, this year Oxford chose many words, some of which included pandemic, coronavirus, COVID-19, and social distancing, to name a few. Last week, I talked about a few of the words they chose that I had never heard of. I looked last week at the word hygiene theater, and also I looked at dooms scrolling. Another word that I had never heard of before, but kind of makes sense, is the word Blur's Day. And that Oxford defines as a day of the week that is indistinguishable from any other when must remain at home all week. And heaven knows there are an awful lot of people that are still working from home in this day and age. This week, I want to look at some words that we all know, but words that have, as of last year, taken on new meanings or have become more important than maybe in years past. In 2020, for example, the word epidemic has morphed into the word infodemic. Infodemic is defined as this. Let me read it to you. As a proliferation of diverse, often unsubstantiated information relating to a crisis, controversy, or event, which disseminates rapidly and uncontrollably through news, online, and social media, and is regarded as intensifying public speculation and anxiety. Wait a minute, I thought we called that fake news. I heard that word used a lot by all news sources last year. But infodemic is the word that Oxford chose as one of their words of 2020. Now, of course, we are not surprised because we're all painfully aware that in a 24/7 news cycle, the opinions of all of the news reporters, I guess it wouldn't be news, I guess it would be opinions, is everywhere, 24/7. And even Jesus found himself having to stop the spread of misinformation all the way back in the first century. In Luke 13, verses 1 through 5, we read this. At that very time, there were some people present who told Jesus about the Galileans whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. He asked them, "Do you think that because these Galileans suffered in this way, they were worse sinners than all other Galileans? No, I tell you, but unless you repent, you will all perish as they did. Or do you think those 18 who were killed when the Tower of Siloam fell on them? Do you think that they were worse offenders when the tower fell than others living in Jerusalem? No, I tell you, but unless you repent, you will all perish just as they did." Now, we don't know the circumstances of either of these tragic and random events, but the audience that Jesus was talking to apparently believed that those bad things happened to Galileans because Galileans were just bad people. Jesus wants to stop the infodemic right in its tracks. he suggests that the rumors that were being started by those spreading the misinformation needed to understand that their beliefs were wrong, not the victims. The victims were not being punished because they were Galileans. Jesus does, though, take this moment in the text to give us some bits of really good advice. He says we must not ever equate tragedy with divine punishment. Bad things do happen to good people sometimes because life is fragile. He also says we should not mistake our good fortune as evidence of God's special blessings on us. And last, the message that's wonderful is that everyone who sins, regardless of race, gender, religion, no matter who we are, will experience consequences when we make bad choices and we do sin. Now, we don't know if Jesus coined any new words during his short ministry on this earth, but he did give us some new information and definitions of already established phrases that were well known by the people of his time. When the Wired Word wrote an article about this, I was fascinated because Jesus' wonderful Sermon on the Mount made people's head spin when he explained that loving one another also included loving your enemies. This was explained further in that beautiful sermon in Matthew when he takes some very understandable Ten Commandments and switches the definition a bit. For example, you shall not murder now includes, don't be angry with your brothers and sisters. You shall not commit adultery now also means you shall not lust for another. You shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made to the Lord now also means do not swear at all. Let your no be no and let your yes be yes. Anything more than that comes from the evil one. He also changed the meaning of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. He said, now that includes, but if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. Now, I don't think Jesus' primary intent with these redefinitions was to make being righteous that much more difficult for us. I do believe that by broadening these definitions, what Jesus is trying to do is give us a deeper and richer way to have a relationship, a true relationship with him. So here we are in a new month, February 1st, and a new year. And I wonder as we look back on 2020, how we might look ahead to what the words of 2021 might be. This has been an unprecedented, almost 1 year of COVID-19 changes in our lives. But it's a new day. And we have new hope now. So I'd encourage you to have vision for what you want your focus to be in this new year. How is that word going to impact how you see 2021? And more importantly, how is that word going to relate to God's view of the future for you? Maybe it's time to start visioning something very new in the new year. It's great talking to you today. I hope you'll join us this Sunday as our sermon series on Mark will continue. We're looking at the second half of chapter 4 in the Gospel of Mark. Please don't hesitate to come in person. We are wearing masks. or join us on Facebook at 1050. God bless you and have a safe and kind week.